Bitcoin price limped into 2025, struggling along with the global stock markets despite wild speculation that China could have beaten Donald Trump and the US to creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, what this article actually focuses on is a massive stimulus by China. The People's Bank of China warned fund managers against chasing a bond rally, citing two anonymous sources as expectations soar. China will soon cut interest rates and unleash a round of stimulus to reinvigorate the economy. China's 10 and 30-year government bond yields, which have been inversely correlated to price, obviously, hit record lows this week after the Financial Times reported China's central bank is likely to cut interest rates from the level of 1.5% at an approximate time in 2025. So we actually cover that too. Their bond yields went down 5% in a day, which is just unprecedented. That's huge. The size of ultra-long special government bond funds will be sharply increased this year to intensify and expand the implementation of the two initiatives, which are to spur business development and consumer boosting initiatives. Okay, so they are going to most likely just print a lot of money, create a lot of stimulus, increase the money supply. The country has to ease or it's game over. Even though liquidity will not help, it will boost other markets like Bitcoin as capital continues to flee the country and based on renewed and increasing misguided optimism. Okay, so yeah, they're most likely going to start printing like there's no tomorrow. We already know that there have been stimulus packages that they've announced over the last couple months, but they may also be trying to beat Donald Trump to creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We know Russia seems to be doing something similar, going back and forth, allowing miners to mine Bitcoin. But Putin recently said that no one can stop Bitcoin, no one can stop crypto. So pretty interesting words from someone that usually tries to hold a lot of control. So most likely they are investing in buying these cryptos, specifically Bitcoin, and creating that strategic reserve before the US. They can do it probably a little bit faster.
Against the backdrop of global economic uncertainty, rumors have emerged that China might be on the verge of outpacing the United States in establishing a Bitcoin reserve. Such a bold and unexpected move could dramatically reshape the global economic landscape, sending ripples that extend far beyond China's borders and affecting markets worldwide. With President Trump's pivotal date looming on the horizon, all eyes are turning to China's central bank. As it navigates a high-pressure bond rally, numerous analysts speculate on its next steps, with some describing an impending stimulus bazooka that could redefine financial norms. Central figures in this unfolding drama include the People's Bank of China and notable financial personalities such as Yuan Da, who are skillfully conducting a complex ballet of economic stabilization. For traders and investors, particularly those with vested interests in Bitcoin and the rapidly expanding crypto markets, the questions arise. What does this development truly mean, and how might it reshape the investing landscape? Welcome back to Investocracy Crypto.
In fact, we published our 2025 Outlook piece recently where we talk about some price targets for Bitcoin and a few other major cryptocurrencies. Yeah, so with the BTC, our target is 210,000.
Excuse me? 210,000?
Yes, yes.
Whoa. Okay.
Well, it's not that crazy. I mean, it's about 100% increase from where we are, and Bitcoin has done crazier things in the past.
Yeah, that's true.
Solana is a $1,000 target price, and then for Ether, we predict in terms of a ETH to BTC ratio, so recovering back to 0.05 from current to 0.03.
Okay.
Yeah, ratio.
So then the key question is how? Why?
Well, there are a few things going on. So we arrive at our target price using what's called MV-RV ratio. MV stands for market value. RV stands for the realized value. Realized value is a value of a Bitcoin blockchain based on the most recent on-chain transaction price. So it's sort of similar to price-to-book multiples in equity.
Okay.
And then we calculate the we estimate the realized value for Bitcoin for next year and apply 3.5 times the multiples based on historical range. Yeah, and then for Solana, our benchmark is Ethereum network's peak valuation during the last bull cycle 3 years ago, which was around $500 billion in market cap, and that's about $1,000 in per Solana on a Solana basis, and then. That's justified in our view because given the current level of institutional interest and then developer activity and also favorable supply outlook.
Yeah, let me comment on this.
Our sense is that Bitcoin and other crypto is also very much a liquidity beneficiary.
Yes.
So my sense there is that you've also got a fairly positive outlook in terms of liquidity overall.
That's correct. Yeah. So. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are hypersensitive to liquidity conditions, and generally speaking, despite the recent hawkish guidance from the Fed on early December, the general direction is still loosening. That's what's implied in the market. So liquidity condition we think will get better next year. But even if for whatever reasons Fed decides to reverse their decision, we have another kind of liquidity kick coming in from China.
Yes.
And then China is they account for a bigger, almost a twice larger portion of a global liquidity than the U.S. I think people often overlook that.
The percentage that they account for of global M2 money supply is just staggering. It's it's less than half, but I think it's about 40%. Is that right?
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
Man.
So we don't feel it because of the capital control in China, and most of the liquidity usually gets trapped within the border of China. But Bitcoin is a global asset.
And in China, there's P2P, right?
That's right.
China's recent strategic financial maneuvers bring to mind the cunning tactics of the shrewdest Wall Street tycoons, earning a nod of approval even from the most seasoned market analysts. The enigmatic rumors surrounding China's alleged intention to adopt a Bitcoin reserve have sent palpable shockwaves reverberating through economic corridors. To add to the intrigue, President Trump's upcoming timeline introduces another layer of complexity and anticipation, akin to waiting for the thrilling climax of a nail-biting Hollywood blockbuster. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the players are maneuvering through a highly charged environment. China's central bank finds itself in the throes of enthusiastically managing a bond rally, grappling with bond yields that have plummeted to unprecedented lows. Both financial experts and casual market observers are holding their collective breath for China's next move. The anticipation and tension are almost tangible, as speculation mounts around a potential strategic interest rate cut in 2025. This potential monetary easing is reminiscent of a magician's carefully calculated final flourish, promising to alter the economic tide dramatically. According to reports, China plans a substantial increase in ultra-long government bond funds, aiming to invigorate business investments and rejuvenate consumer spending. President Xi Jinping has unambiguously expressed his commitment to rejuvenate economic growth, a commitment that reverberates across global financial institutions.
Bitcoin up more than 40% since Donald Trump's election win in November. Many in the crypto community enthusiastic for what they hope will be a more friendly environment for crypto under Trump. Joining us right now is Ari Redboard. He is the head of legal and government affairs at TRM Labs. Good morning to you. I think we're all trying to understand what it means to have a more friendly regulatory environment and sort of how that will therefore manifest itself in some of the valuations that we're seeing, Ari.
First of all, good morning, and thank you so much for having me. There were a lot of promises made on the campaign trail, and now we're sort of slowly seeing some of those promises come to life. There's this adage in politics that the people are the policy, and over the last, really since the election, we saw several key appointments really across the cabinet, from Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary, Paul Atkins as SEC Chair. We have now a crypto czar, or we'll have a crypto czar, David Sachs, an entrepreneur and former PayPal executive. So if the people are the policy, we're seeing people really up and down the cabinet who have been supportive of digital assets, have been supportive of innovation, AI. There's this excitement and I think sort of cadence of almost a space race where the U.S. is now in a position to keep up with the rest of the world or even surpass the rest of the world. And so far, we've seen a number of really key appointments of folks that support innovation in the digital asset space.
But I guess the question is,
valuations.
If you look at Bitcoin at close to $100,000 now, what happens? Meaning, how's it going to trade in the future? Do you believe it becomes some kind of true electronic currency? What happens that actually brings value to all of this?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I mentioned the people, and the real question next is sort of what happens from a policy standpoint. We've heard a bunch of different suggestions to include a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
As China gears up for these robust economic measures, an unintentional comedy unfolds within the stock market. The irony is evident. Traditional stocks might find themselves caught in a self-fulfilling prophecy spurred by a nation once notorious for its rigorous crypto crackdowns. An economist humorously remarked on X, noting that China's dramatic shifts might inadvertently serve as yet another misguided optimistic booster for Bitcoin. This twist is likened to discovering gold at the end of a rainbow, only to realize, to much chagrin, that it's merely pyrite. Amidst this roller coaster of financial maneuvers, Arthur Hayes, the former BitMEX co-founder, has ventured a prediction. He foresees a flourishing upturn for Bitcoin and the broader crypto market by 2025, spurred by China's aggressive strides and a dovish Federal Reserve outlook. Coincidentally, a recent study conducted by the WHO-run Research Institute in collaboration with Ping An Securities highlights an emerging trend. The younger generation in China is increasingly engaging in trading, spurred by a thirst for high-stakes investments in technological innovations, such as Bitcoin and the crypto market. It seems that fresh participants in the market are setting new norms, embracing risk-loving strategies that starkly contrast with the conservative approaches of previous generations. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
But I think what I'm really most excited about is even beyond Bitcoin. Over the last few months, we have seen fintechs like Stripe and Cash App and others across the ecosystem use stablecoins at scale for payments. Right? We're actually seeing the technology used. I think Bitcoin traditionally has been this investment mechanism or store of value, but what we're really seeing is people start to use the technology for cross-border payments, for remittances, to buy things. And I think that's when we're really going to see this ecosystem grow when we talk about digital assets. So I think on the one hand, you have Bitcoin, which has been I think this really incredible success story, and even in more bolstered by the election. But I think what we're really seeing, and I'm most excited about, is the technology being used in a meaningful way for cross-border payments and beyond.
You have a view on what Bitcoin ultimately is going to be worth? Is there an ultimately?
I don't. I think we're going to see it go significantly higher. I think things like a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States, and it's not just the United States. I think, when countries around the world look at the election, look at some of the campaign promises, and now look at what the Trump administration is already doing, I think we're starting to see other countries and even states. I spoke to folks from Texas recently that are looking to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So I think we're going to see it go significantly higher. But I'm definitely, I'm a former prosecutor, not a guy who's going to necessarily make predictions on the ultimate price of Bitcoin.
We should have a larger conversation about this, given your former prosecutorial role and the fact that there's a whole bunch of prosecutors who think that Bitcoin gets involved in a lot of crime. But we can discuss that another time.
As China's expansive economic chess game unfolds, investors worldwide are left to ponder the potential gains and inherent risks of diving headfirst into this high-stakes arena. While the notion of Bitcoin attaining reserve status in China is still speculative at best, the persistent ripple effects of their financial maneuvers offer intriguing prospects for savvy investors eyeing future growth and diversification. The current state of Bitcoin remains buoyant, delicately balanced on the brink of a potential bull market as global economic policies begin aligning in its favor. Analysts remain cautiously optimistic about Bitcoin's trajectory, projecting a substantial rise fueled by these dynamic market developments. Standing on the precipice of what could be a historic shift in both economic policy and investment trends, now presents an opportune moment to consider diversifying one's financial portfolio. The tantalizing prospect of China's financial strategy catalyzing a new era for Bitcoin is indeed compelling. As we monitor this developing saga, it's natural to wonder about the future implications of such dramatic economic shifts. What are your thoughts on this unfolding narrative? Are you ready to embrace the dynamic and evolving world of Bitcoin and crypto? And finally, if you would like to know more about cryptocurrencies or specifically Bitcoin, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.